Yes, this is regarding the Indo-US ties, the Trump-Modi relation that has just begun with an invite now that has been sent out to the Prime Minister to visit the US.
Well, that's right. In fact, MEA's top gun, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar, is presently in the US and he has already met NSA's Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster and discussed counter-terrorism and bilateral relations between the two countries.
He's also met with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, that being Paul Ryan. He's discussed ways to enhance economic and defense cooperation between the two nations there.
In fact, one of the top focus areas of this high-level meet is going to be Hafiz Saeed, who is so far being shielded by Pakistan and China.
The big question here being, will India and the US manage to cut a deal there on the 2611 mastermind to bring justice to the victims?
Both our neighbours are watching apprehensively as far as this high-level meet is concerned.
Secretary Jaishankar has arrived in D.C. at a time of transition for U.S.-India relations. He just completed the first ever India-China strategic dialogue, which was a landmark event that was in turns both frustrating and also opened possibilities for new cooperation between India and China. Now he's in D.C. to meet his future counterparts and to try and get a sense of what the Trump administration's policy on India is going to be, what its policy on Pakistan is going to be, and how the two countries can cooperate in areas that are important to them, including terrorism and security issues in the Indian Ocean region.
A very closely watched meeting there that has been going on. Of course, several issues that have been listed top of the agenda. One, of course, being the Kansas shooting. This, of course, with respect to a mention that was already made by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, making a mention of it, saying that it's regretful. But the security of Indian American community there living in the U.S., that's going to be top of the agenda, as well as, of course, other areas of cooperation being trade and defense.
Well, that's right. In fact, Hafiz Saeed also continues to be the topmost talking point as far as this high-level bilateral meet is concerned, because Hafiz Saeed has been getting a lot of support, tacit support from both China as well as Pakistan. Pakistan has been living in denial mode as far as Hafiz Saeed is concerned, and India's concerns pertaining to the role that Hafiz Saeed has played, particularly with reference to the Mumbai attacks, that is something that Pakistan continues to deny even till now.
The other issue here, of course, being for Jaishankar to bat for Indian companies in the U.S. Is that going to be taken well, given that President Donald Trump, of course, goes with the agenda of America first? To what extent here would Indian companies' presence in the U.S. there be accepted as far as a fair game on a fair playing field on trade between the two nations there is concerned? He's met with the newly appointed U.S. NSA as well as the Speaker Paul Ryan. Is, of course, essentially to discuss the ties, bilateral ties between the two countries. We're getting you those inside shots there of the meeting. Foreign Secretary Jaishankar, when he met with the Speaker Paul Ryan, the next in line, of course, was with the National Security Advisor of the U.S. Jaishankar has met already with the NSA there as well, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. It is to discuss counter-terrorism, bilateral relations, ways to take Indo-US ties forward. As far as counter-terrorism goes, that's when the issue of Hafiz Saeed has been brought up as well. Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan taking us through the highlight of that meeting. Geeta, please go ahead.
Well, yes, important engagement by the Foreign Secretary of India with top officials in the United States of America. He did meet the National Security Advisor, and bilateral relations between India and U.S. were discussed, which means that the security aspect and concerns with regards to past terror were a part of the discussions between India and the United States of America, as also the hate crimes and increasing incidents where Indians fell victim to those hate crimes were also part of the discussion, not just with NSA, but also with Speaker Paul Ryan.
Right, Geeta, of course, that being top of the agenda as far as the security of the Indian American community there is concerned as well. But is there a sign that there is a softening of stand of the U.S. on this as well, given that one of the opening remarks there and President Trump's speech to the Congress yesterday had been regretful of the Kansas shooting?
Condemnation came from the President of America, but it was a little late. While while we've seen in the past such incidents have always been condemned without any delay. President Trump was being careful because he also has to ensure that his own constituency does not get upset. And with the FBI and officials now having very clearly spelled out that it indeed was a racist attack and had racist colors to the entire incident, is the reason why we see White House and President Trump coming out and condemning this entire attack, and after which we're seeing that the top leadership of America is also coming out and condemning the very same attack, a realization that when it comes to foreign policy as also domestic policies, issues such as hate crimes should not be tolerated, and the administration will have to show zero tolerance to such hate crimes and increasing incidents of racist attacks in the United States of America if they want to be and want to continue to be beacons of the free world.
Right. Geeta, I request you to stay on with us because we are now also joined by Mr. Jaishankar, former Foreign Secretary. Sir, how important is this meeting, keeping in mind the fact that there are multiple issues that both sides need to sit and discuss? This meeting has already happened with our Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, voicing India's concerns.
Yeah, well, firstly, to voice the concern, I think it's a right forum because National Security Advisor, the U.S. would be the key advisor to the President, and therefore is the right, appropriate place where one should make it clear as to what are the feelings in India. And secondly, he has also met Paul Ryan, and some congressmen were here in India recently. So I think at the congressional level also, they have been sensitized very much about the Indian concerns. But the other point is that with the National Security Advisors, the Foreign Secretary, I'm quite sure, must have also touched upon all the regional and global issues, because India and other Asian countries are very much in the dark as to what will be the Trump administration's policy towards Afghanistan, Pakistan, and all terrorism-related issues, and also about China's fairly dreams, which are likely to clash with the economic development policies of the other Asian countries.
Right.
So one should exchange views with that. I am sure that our Foreign Secretary has exchanged these views also, and perhaps our Prime Minister would then have a better idea as to what are they thinking about Indo-US partnership on a strategic level.
Indo-US partnership as far as fighting terror there is concerned as well, and the two coming together to fight Pakistan and China's stand on Hafiz Saeed.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, these were issues because now, as Foreign Secretary said, that it's no longer only India's concern, but the Western countries are also very much concerned about the terrorism which is spreading out from Pakistan. Russians are also concerned about that. Chinese must be concerned. I mean, after all, they are going to put $54 billion in Pakistan. It's a different matter that they want to pacify and appease all kinds of terrorist groups within Pakistan so that they don't hurt Chinese interests. But this doesn't work, I mean, Pakistanis tried to do that, appeasing all kinds of terrorist lobbies within Pakistan, and ultimately they have been suffering. In China's case, they also have the obligation as a permanent member of the UN Security Council.
Right.
And various regional forums where India also is a member. Other countries which suffer from terrorism are also members. So it just cannot take a duplicitous view. It must take a very clear-cut view. So I think it's very important that America and India should plan out their policies for Asia.
Okay.
After all, some joint vision was developed during Obama's time.
Right.
And now we need to move further ahead on that.
Whether or not there's going to be a continuation of that or not, of course, still needs to be seen. Mr. Jaishankar, appreciate you speaking to us on that.
Well, that's right. In fact, let's just quickly go over to Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs Editor, once again. Geeta, the other point of discussion was the defense cooperation, economic and defense cooperation between India and United States. So as far as defense cooperation goes, how important is this? How is it being perceived in both countries?
Well, the defense cooperation is absolutely important and very crucial to ties between India and the United States of America. There are there's a lot that has really happened in the recent past between the United States of America and India, and both countries are looking at now implementation of the agreements that have been signed, be it logistics sharing agreement between the two countries, or for that matter, sharing of important bases U.S. and Indian Air Force and Army bases. And that's a very important aspect to look at between the two countries. Also, U.S. would be looking at ensuring that if there are arms and weapons and heavy weaponry that India requires, then being one of the biggest markets, U.S. would want to ensure that U.S. is a foremost partner for U.S. when it comes to defense.
Absolutely. Geeta, please stay on with us.